Hey there guys, it's your boy 12death, also known as Daniel, and welcome back to another video. So, today we're going to be talking about rotation versus banlist formats, and that's quite interesting. It's an interesting topic to talk about, especially in modern day trading card games, because as you know, I play a number of trading card games, and they all come with their own special formats. So for people who don't know, or who don't play trading card games and just like my channel, a ban list is when a trading card game creates a list of cards that they deem too powerful to be used in competitive play. And that list is practically what's used in the competitive scene. So, for example, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a ban list. So, normally, every single card in the game you could use on 3 copies in your deck. Then there are some special cards which you can only use 2 of them in your deck, which are semi-limited. There are cards which you can only use 1 of in your deck, which are just limited. And then you have straight out banned cards, which you're not allowed to use at all. So for example, cards like Exodia, you're only allowed 1 copy of each part of Exodia in your deck. Because if you had more than 1 copy of each part of Exodia in your deck, it would be more likely that you would get Exodia and you would win the game very, very quickly, per se. There'd be a lot more decks based around Exodia play if there were more than 1 part per deck. So stuff gets put on the ban list not because of community outcry, which I wish it was, but it's not. But it's put on the ban list in terms of what it's doing to the game. So Konami would change the ban lists based on, oh, this is what's happening in the game, this is why this is too powerful. So for example, a card like Pot of Greed, which, as we all know, you draw 2 cards, that's a +1. That's what we call a +1, because so you take a card out of your hand, which would be Pot of Greed, you play the card, that card that goes to the graveyard, that's a -1, but now you get to draw your 2 cards, so -1, 0, 0, +1. So you get a straight +1 from Pot of Greed, and that's why it's completely not fair, because it is a completely free card which you just didn't earn at all, really, in terms of resource management. So it's just completely free card, and that's why that's banned. So that's a ban list. Now, rotation formats are very, very different. So rotation formats are stuff used in Yu-Gi-Oh!, stuff used in Pokemon. Stuff used in Pokemon and online TCGs like Shadowverse normally go for this sort of format. So, for example, Pokemon has a rotation format. So what happens in competitive play over there is practically every year new sets of cards get released, and you're only allowed to use cards from the last few sets in competitive play. So for example, in Shadowverse, you're only allowed to use the last 6 sets of cards. And so what that means is the last 6 sets of packs that came out. So, for example, in Pokemon we have all the tag team packs out now. And so if we go back 6 packs beforehand, so what were 6 packs before those tag team packs came out, we're allowed to use any card within that range to its full potential. But you're not allowed to use any cards that came before that at all. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to bust out your 1996 Pikachu. But still. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to bust out your super powerful EXs, because now they're not part of the rotation format. So, in terms of the rotation format, what it does is it keeps the game very, very fresh. Because as soon as a new pack comes out, the meta changes. Because then some people may have been using cards from the pack that is 6th in the line, the last pack they could possibly use. So when a new pack comes out, those players now have to change and adapt their deck. So what the rotation meta does is it keeps things really fresh. But unfortunately, with the rotation meta, you don't know when new packs are coming out, as a first thing. So you can't base, like, your play around, oh, there's a new deck coming out soon, I should probably not play this deck that's only using cards from the 6th pack in the queue. So you can't really do that. But also the other thing is, if there's a super powerful cards that is within the perimeters, you're going to have to stick with that card until that card gets pushed out of the queue. And that sucks. Yes, it gives you more time to learn how to play around it. It gives you more time to learn how to play around it, and it also gives you more opportunities to get counterplay to it, because obviously new packs are coming out. But that's what sucks. What sucks is that if that card just came out, you're going to have to deal with that for 6 more pack spans. That's insane. Imagine having to deal with super powerful cards like Firewall Dragon until 6 more packs came out in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's mad. No, we don't want that. That does annoy a lot of people in the meta, because it means that cards stay for a long time, and that sucks. Sure, the meta changes, but cards stay. And when cards stay and the meta changes, that's even better for the powerful cards, because that means they're creating more styles of play for themselves. No. But then with ban lists, it means that the meta doesn't change as often. It isn't as fresh. It isn't as cool. You know, you're going to have to play the same formats for ages. So with rotation formats, it's more about, oh hey, the cards are staying, but the meta is changing, and that's what makes it cool and fun. But unfortunately, we have to keep on finding new ways to deal with this card. But with ban list formats, it's like, oh, we're keeping the same meta for a long time, which is good because I have time to buy the deck, and I know I can get a lot of time out of this deck because I'm putting a lot of money into it. But also means I'm stuck with a really, really difficult... I'm stuck in a really combo-heavy meta for a long time. Or, you know, because card game communities don't go out to community outcry, oh, I'm going to have to deal with this card for ages because, you know, this TCG aren't going to ban it, and that really sucks because in terms of ban lists, you have no influence on them, and you can't say, oh, I would really like this to be banned so we can get a new meta, because this new meta that we're playing now is really combo heavy. It isn't fun. I'm not enjoying it. But on the other hand, you're going to have a long period of span there. You're going to have a long span of time with the deck that you're paying however much for. But, you know, with rotation, it's like, oh, I'm not going to get a long lifespan out of this deck, but I'm still going to be struggling. And although I'm no longer going to be struggling against a certain deck, I'm going to be still struggling against a certain card. And, you know, it's really difficult overall. But I feel like, why not both? I feel like that's the solution, because obviously both types of excluding powerful cards or changing metas are good, but obviously, like I've said, they've had some flaws, so why not do both? If you put your rotation format in, oh hey, you're only allowed to use cards from the last 6 packs, or from the last year, or from whatever. Oh wow, the format's consistently changing, and we can ban cards that are super powerful at the same time. We don't have to wait for those super powerful cards to get out of the format. We can just ban them now. And then people don't have to stick with this absolutely rubbish format for the next however long. I feel like conjoining these two is great. Like, card games need to do this. You're keeping the meta fresh, you're keeping the meta exciting, it's consistently changing. People want to get involved because they're like, okay, I don't have to deal with super powerful decks for a long time. That's really good. That's why I might start playing this card game, because I don't have to stick with the same rubbish format for ages. And then if a card comes out which you realise, oh hey, we shouldn't have made that card is too powerful, that's going to stay in the meta for a very long time. Although it may have different iterations of deck, it's going to be a staple in every single deck. We can just ban it. It seems so simple. It seems so logical to do. I don't know why they don't do this. It just seems so logical. Yu-Gi-Oh! Would become a million times a better game. Pokemon would become a million times a better game. Magic would become a million times a better game. Like, every single card game, if they switched to both of them, they would become a million times a better game. They would be fresh, they would be cool, they'd be funky. They'd be fair, because the cards are getting banned. They'd be very... I don't know what else to say. Card game producers need to get on this now. That's all I'm saying. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. We will be back to pack openings, but I hope you enjoy this different style of video where I'm just talking. There'll be a lot more of these coming soon. I have a lot more ideas written up already. So anyway guys, we'll see you in the next one. Cheerio!